Hello and welcome to Stylist Chats with Creatives. Today on the podcast, I've got Anastasia Haffenden. Anastasia is a stylist and a singer and goes by the name of Tyrer under her singing name. Hello, my love.
Hello. Hi.
How are
How are you?
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Your dog is just, I keep seeing her ears pop up.
Yeah, she's very clingy. Her name is Willow and she's a sausage dog.
Oh, she's just too cute with her
She's
little
way too
ears.
cute. She's so she knows how cute she is though, so she's a little bit manipulative. She's got me wrapped around the little finger.
Yeah, I've got one the same at home. They just
Oh,
they just know, don't they? The little
yeah,
puppy dog eyes. They're just
they
like,
do.
oh. So just fill the listeners in a little bit. We first met in a studio, holy shit,
In
about
Manchester,
in Manchester, maybe 6 years ago.
I would say like 7 years ago, yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Time flies.
Oh my God, where has that time gone?
I know.
And since then, you've carried on styling, but you've moved to London, right?
Yeah, I moved to London in 2016, and then I've kind of been on and off styling because I do music as well. But yeah, I'm doing styling alongside music, which is yeah, great, really.
Yeah, it's a good mix, I guess, because then also like with your music stuff as well, I'm guessing you can style other musicians and kind of pull in work from different areas as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, but also even like with my own stuff as well, like when I've done music videos or shoots or something, it's kind of good to have that kind of eye for stuff as well and just be involved in that aspect of things. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice.
And I suppose with your own personal style as well, you can kind of be like, oh no, I know what I want. And I, like you say, you've got the eye for it. You can be like, right,
Yeah.
I want it to look like this, feel like this.
Yeah,
More done.
exactly. And I think as well, like when you are performing, like you have to feel a certain way to kind of like get in the right headspace. So yeah, it's good. I enjoy
Yeah.
it.
How's your singing going?
It's going well, like obviously it's quite like a tough industry and I've been doing it for many years now. But yeah, it's going well. I'm working on a project. I'm releasing. I'm working with a label now as well, which is really cool. Yeah, so it's going really well.
Oh, congratulations with the label. That's
Thank
so cool.
you.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like you say, it is a hard, from what I know of it, it's a hard industry, but like I've heard your music and it's insane, girl. Insane.
Thanks.
How do you find it? Like, do you find it weird people like hearing your music? Or are you like, oh, it's cool, it's out, it's me. This is
Yeah, I'm kind of like used to it now, but I think because with the stuff that's out, I've written so many years ago, it's like it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of weird listening to it. I don't, to be honest, I don't even listen to the music that's out because it's just such a different time in my life.
yeah.
But I'm just always kind of writing and just wanting to get stuff released. Like as soon as I write something that I love, I'm like, oh my God, I want to release this. But like the process of when you do write something and when you do release it, it takes like even up to like a couple of years sometimes. So yeah, by the time it's released, I'm like so used to the song and like kind of past it as well. So
Yeah. So what's involved in the process from you writing to it being released?
so if I write a song, I normally work with a producer or writer, and then kind of like I sit on it for a little bit, and then see in like a couple of months' time if I'm still like vibing with the song and stuff. And then you take it to a mixer, and the mixer basically like um, kind of fixes all like the levels and stuff, like the volumes, and just make sure it's like sounding a bit more crisp. And then there's like another step which is like mastering on top of the mixing.
Hmm.
And then once it's mixed and mastered, you've got to obviously like think of like artwork and stuff. And then yeah, once you upload it, then it takes about 4 weeks to actually get released. So it can be like a really quick process if you're quite decisive and like you obviously have like the funds behind it as well. But also it can take like quite a long time as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I don't know, in my head, I'd kind of thought, will somebody write something, they go and like sing it or perform it in like a music studio and then boom, it's out.
Yeah, I wish. But I mean, sometimes it depends like what level you are as well. Like, obviously, when if you're a big artist and you've got like a big label supporting you, and you write something in the label like, yes, we want this out, we think it's going to be like a massive single, then I guess it would be like quite a quick process. So it just kind of depends like on, yeah, what kind of support you have around you as well.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Did you find it like really intimidating going in and like getting stuff mixed and stuff and just kind of being a new kid on the block?
No, I loved it, I really loved like being in that environment. But yeah, to be fair, like it is quite intimidating to be in studios. I kind of find writing a little bit more intimidating because it's so personal, and I guess like I'm kind of like a introverted anyway. And
Mhm.
if I'm in a room with like people that I've never met before, you kind of like having to just be really vulnerable, and that's what I find the most challenging. And I get like what's that thing where you don't feel, I'm doing that thing again, brain fog.
Oh, like imposter
Yeah,
syndrome.
imposter syndrome. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I get a little bit imposter syndrome as well. But yeah, it's just something that the more you do it, obviously, like the more confidence you get, and yeah, it gets easier.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely feel that imposter syndrome sometimes when I'm going into like new photography studios, even though I'm like chatty and like,
Yeah,
you still think like, oh God, like,
yeah,
what am I
definitely.
walking into?
I get that in styling as well, especially if it's been like a couple of weeks since I've worked and I've kind of like been focusing on music a bit. When I get back into styling and I have a big job, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to do my job. But obviously, I do know how to do my job, but it's just one of those things, isn't it? When you get into it, you kind of like remember everything, everything's fine, but it's just that initial nerves.
Yeah, that initial like, oh shit, can I remember how to dress a mannequin or a model or like kid's bedroom or
Yeah.
something. So do you mostly do fashion?
To be honest, I do quite a lot of like different things. Like I've done fashion, still life. Um, I do like a bit of set design as well. Yeah, I do kind of like all across the board, really.
That's good. I think like variety keeps it fresh. You just feel a bit
Yeah,
like,
defo,
yeah, that's cool.
defo.
What do you prefer? What's your preference out of all of that? What's your like favorite thing?
Do you know what? I actually love the fact that every job is different. Like I'm very much a kind of, yeah, I like the variation of all the different jobs and stuff. But I don't know. I do love fashion, to be fair. I do love fashion and kind of like the busyness of it as well, the hecticness of it. But I love it all.
Yeah, I definitely like think fashion's quite hectic.
It
It
is really
definitely is.
hectic. But the thing is, I love being like on my feet all day. It's like
Yeah.
if I'm on a job that, I mean, when it's all the time, then obviously it does get a little bit tiring. But and it is nice to have the job that's like, like a little bit easier as well to break it up. But yeah, I really like being stimulated constantly.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think that's a creative thing as well. Like
Yeah.
you've always got to have like something on the go. Like otherwise it's like I don't know about you, otherwise I get bored and then I'm like, "Oh my God, does everybody hate me because there's no work on or whatever?" And I'm like, and actually no one hates me. It's just that everyone's quiet and I'm just a bit bored and like overthinking.
Mm, yeah. What do you do like in periods where it is quite quiet? Like, what do you kind of like have your own creative projects that you work on, or like what do you do in those quiet times?
I set this up and
Yeah.
then I tend to get outside. So I'll like
Yeah.
walk the dog. I'll make sure that I'm outside. I'll maybe garden. I sound my age. Um, yeah, I just like to be outside or,
Shh.
like
Sorry,
Willow
there's a
saying
baby
hi.
next. There's a baby next door. But go on.
Uh, yeah, I like to just relax a little bit and just maybe we might go on holiday now, or
Nice.
yeah, I haven't tested in a long time. So that's something
Yeah.
maybe like I should probably actually um start doing a little bit more. But yeah, I tend to just try and relax because then when it gets busy, I could cut myself into four and still have
Yeah.
too much work on. So
No, it's
I,
so true. It's really good to remind yourself as well, like in times when it is quiet, because I'm like that as well. When it gets really quiet, I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's really quiet. Like I don't really know what to do with myself. So yeah, like taking myself out for a walk and just like implementing like a bit of structure to my life
yeah.
is like really good for me personally. And I would really recommend it as well. Um but yeah, it's like good to remind yourself like when it's quiet, you just know it's going to be like super busy. There's no in between. It's like either extremely like fucking busy or just like really quiet.
Yeah, someone once called it feast or famine. So like
Yeah,
it's either
that's
like
so accurate.
yeah, I was just like, that's just, you've hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what it is. But yeah, I always have like a mini panic, especially like around March. And Nafe's always like, you know that the budgets have run out. It's March.
Mm,
Of course, they've run out of budget until the new tax year. Just chill out. And
yeah.
then I'm like, and he's like, well, you just go outside, get out.
Just go outside for a walk.
Yeah, that's it. But you're definitely right with the structure thing. You do need like, especially when it's quiet, because there's that, it's so easy to slip in that routine of just every day's kind of a Sunday and you're just kind of like, la la la, chilling out.
Yeah,
And then all of a
so
sudden when work
true.
does come in, you're like, fuck, I've got to get up at 6.
Yeah, gotta get up at the crack of dawn.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
no, it's good. I kind of like getting up like super early anyway when I've got jobs on. I like the extreme of it.
yeah, yeah. I think like once I'm in the routine of it, I'm fine with it. It's just the initial shock of like the first week of going back to work like full time after you've been,
Mm.
I don't know, a lady of leisure.
A lady of leisure, yeah. Love that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely, you definitely do need that structure. Like I would happily like just be in bed till gone 10 every morning. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important for like your mental health, I think, just in whatever you're doing, just having a bit of routine and structure and
yeah,
just implementing it.
yeah. Do you find having the dog helps as well? Because you've got to get out for like walks and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. What about you with Coco?
Yeah, it like, and if I don't walk her enough, she's a pain in the arse.
How many times a day do you walk her?
Only once, but it's at least half an hour a day.
Oh my gosh. Are you kind of like surrounded by a lot of countryside?
Yeah, yeah, we
That
are
helps.
now. Yeah, it was hard like when we were still in the city, like in Stockport, and there wasn't really like many nice walks where there's plenty of space because Coco's a
Mm,
bit iffy with other dogs. Like, whereas here we can walk for probably like 20 kilometers without seeing anybody else.
yeah.
So,
How do you find like from living in the city to countryside, like the difference? Which do you like enjoy more?
we're countryside people, I think, for
Yeah.
sure. Um, we found it's a really interesting question actually. We found the city really anxiety inducing and we didn't fully realize until we moved to the countryside and we were like, oh, it's so quiet, it's so peaceful, we can hear a cow across the valley, we can like, there's nobody screaming and shouting at their kids, or
Yeah.
you know, we didn't live in a particularly nice area. It was up and coming, I'd say, in Manchester.
Yeah. Yeah.
um and then Nath, which he won't mind me saying, he had like a few depressive kind of episodes.
Mm,
And I think then the anxiety of living in a city where stuff's always on the go, he
yeah.
found too much. And then, of course, it just rubs off on everybody. And then you're kind
Yeah.
of like, oh shit, like, what's that noise? Who,
Yeah.
like, and then he
It
started
definitely
working.
has an effect. I think
Yeah.
like living in a city, and then like I even had like a similar thing, and obviously I've been in London for a few years now, and at that time in my life it was like the perfect thing for me. But then I got to a point where I was just a bit like, especially like after COVID as well,
Yeah.
when I was just a bit like, I kind of want a bit of greenery now.
Yeah.
So I'm still down south, and I still like am classed as London, but I've moved a little bit further out. So there's just like that bit more of like greenery, and you don't really feel like you can't breathe and stuff when you when you breathe
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. We definitely said that because me and Nath did like the couch to 5K thing, I think maybe before COVID. And we were like running on the street, and he was like, all you can feel is the like car fumes coming in your lungs.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So
But
true.
I do think like I love Manchester so much, and I love visiting, and I love working in Manchester, and I like working in Leeds. I like working in the big cities, but I absolutely love on the drive home. I drive through a bit of the Peak District, and
Yeah.
I'm
Peak
home.
District is so beautiful as well. So
Yeah,
lucky.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so pretty. But it does. I think the anxiety just like lifted so much. Like Nath actually sleeps properly now. Like
Mm,
and it's just because you could hear. It sounds really silly, but like people putting their bins out, or
mm.
like two doors down, hollering at her kids at 7 in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it just makes a difference about what community you fit into as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree.
Yeah. It's definitely that green. You definitely need that green space. And I think like we're the same as you. It kind of went a bit fucking tits up during COVID.
Mm. I think as well, like during COVID, it's kind of like you just obviously you just kind of realize what's important as well. And I think just like your living situation, like your living space, like where you are as well, your surroundings and stuff is like really important.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that like me and Nath were living like uni students when we first moved to Manchester. We were going to gigs all the time and like out all the time. So when you're out and about, you don't really realize who you're living near. And
Mm,
then when COVID happened, you're all obviously in your houses, and then you're like, oh my God, these people are doing my head in.
yeah.
And they just weren't the people for us.
Yeah. Do you still go to gigs and stuff now?
A little bit, but there's a really good venue here in Holmfirth that do a
Nice.
little bit of cover bands, little bit of like kind of more unknown bands and stuff.
Mm,
We've got a couple coming up in May. But
nice.
just a bit more effort, isn't it, when you don't live right in the city?
Yeah, definitely. You just kind of have to like plan it and like plan the last train home and stuff. So
Yeah, that's it. That's
but it's
it.
still good. It's still nice. It's kind of nice going into the city and coming back anyway to like greenery anyway.
Yeah. Do you go to lots of gigs, and are you gigging quite a lot?
So I must admit I'm not going to as many gigs as I should be going to. Um, and I'm kind of like slowly getting back into performing again. So like before COVID, I was performing quite a lot around London and stuff, and I was like getting on a roll. And then obviously had a bit of a break from it. And because I'm quite like I get really bad like stage fright, so I kind of like just longed it out until I had to like get back into it. But yeah, like I've done a few like London based performances recently, and yeah, I think I'm going to be like performing a bit more as well this year, especially with the project coming out. So yeah, it's exciting.
That's good. It's funny, isn't it, how your singing still gives you a bit of stage fright, even though
Oh my
you're
god,
bloody incredible.
babe, you do not like words cannot describe how much anxiety it gives me. But it's like obviously it's part of the job. It's like you can't get out of it. And it's like I think I do enjoy it. There must be something that I do enjoy about it for me to like do it again and again and again. But yeah, I think I do get stage fright. But I think it's quite normal to feel anxious, like if you're performing. Like even if you look super confident, I'm sure like artists do still get a bit anxious. And again, as well, I think it's like the more you do it, the more like you'll feel better about it anyway. It's just like practice makes perfect, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think as well with like anxiety, it's good to have a little bit of nerves, but
Mm.
like you
No,
say,
it's not. I don't want any nerves.
but once you practice more and more and more, you become more confident, and you're just like, cool. I've
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And I think as well, it's like if you are like rehearsed enough as well, like that's key as well. So like if you know what you're doing and you've done it like hundreds of times, and it's like it's kind of a bit like autopilot in a sense.
yeah. So do you perform? Whereabouts do you perform? Is there loads of little venues? What's your
So
vibe?
there's at the moment I'm just kind of doing like smaller venues, just around London. But I'm wanting to kind of do a few more performances up north because I've never performed up north before, and I feel like I'd love to do some performances in Manchester and stuff. So hopefully I'll sort that out this year.
I wonder if they're a different crowd, because often, like me and Nath have seen Jimmy Carr in Cambridge and then seen him
Mm,
up in Manchester, and the crowd, similar set, if not the
mm.
same set, and it was a completely different experience because the crowd was completely different.
Really? What was the
Mm.
difference in the two? Like, what
Uh,
was the crowd in Cambridge like in comparison?
Cambridge was stiff.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Whereas like I feel like Mancunians are very more like live in the moment, and they're like laughing along, and whereas in
Yeah.
Cambridge are like, that was funny, and you're like, you should be wetting yourself laughing, he's hilarious. And they're just like,
Yeah.
yes, that's funny. Like,
I think like London crowd is like I've heard that it's like a little bit more intimidating. But yeah, like I said, I haven't performed up north, so it would be really interesting to see what the difference would be in the crowd.
yeah, I wonder what
I
it'd
think
be like.
I think as well, like I've got all my friends and stuff from up north, so it would be so nice just to have like my friends and my family come and
Yeah.
just like feel that support.
Yeah, do you find it hard that your friends and family are still up north? Obviously you've got friends in London, but like,
Yeah, no, I definitely do, you know. I go through like phases of feeling that because yeah, I guess because I've like moved around quite a bit, like all my friends are like scattered around.
mm,
Um, but I guess it's just like, and as well, like being self-employed, like when you're freelance as well, it's kind of, you don't really have the same kind of community feel as like when you're full-time in a job and you like see these people every day because it's always like a different team.
yeah,
Obviously depending on what you do like see familiar faces and stuff. But yeah, I kind of just I'm used to it now as well, and you just like make friends along the way, and I feel like in different like phases in your life, that's just the way it goes. I don't know about you, but yeah, that's my experience.
yeah, we're similar. Like, I love going into lots of different places for work, and then I'm like,
Mm,
hey, and catch up with people that I've not seen for
yeah,
ages. But I'm kind of like, I can't remember who I was chatting to, but I'm kind of like an extroverted introvert, in that
yeah,
like I'm really chatty and I love being around people, but I'm probably better at one-on-one or like a small group of people. Or
yeah.
like
I'm the same.
if there's a rap party, I'm like, nah, see you later. Even though I've worked with that team for like maybe a month or something, I'm
Mm.
like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna go. Whereas I'd happily spend time with all those people like at work. But then as soon
Mm,
as the situation's different, I'm like, well, this is,
yeah,
so yeah, I do. I think there is a nice freelance community up here. I don't know how you
yeah,
find it.
absolutely. No, I think there's more of a community up north than there is down south, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I always feel that when I do the odd job up north as well, because there was a period of time when there was like a bit more work in Manchester, so I was kind of like spending a bit of time at home and like working up north. But I think as well because I worked for like so many years up there as well. It's kind of like everyone knows everyone. It's just so nice. It's a nice community feel. It's very
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely found when I was further down south, like I was Peterborough and Milton Keynes a little bit. I
Oh
definitely
yeah.
found it was like a little bit more guarded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Whereas like up here, someone's like, "Oh, I can't do a job," so they like pass it along, and people are a
Yeah.
bit more like open to like being a bit more of a community, I guess.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like that should be more of a thing though. Like I think
Mm,
that's especially like amongst women as well in
yeah.
creative industries. I think it's so nice just to like just involve everyone, include everyone, and just pass on work if you can't do things like you said before, and just like less of that kind of competitive energy. I'm just not about that at all.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm like, go on, take it. I can't be asked to
Yeah.
fight you for this.
Literally.
Yeah, I always struggled with that when I was younger, like the competitive side, and people would be like,
Mm,
"Well, I'm doing this and I'm doing this," and I still struggle a little bit now, where I'm like, I
mm,
get a bit of like envy, and I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh, they're doing that," and then I forget that actually I've also done some cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I struggle to kind of like sell myself, to be fair. It's like, when you're on jobs and people are like, oh, so what have you been doing? What have you done? Like, what jobs have you been on? And it's like, oh, I don't want to like just sell myself to you right now.
Yeah, yeah. It's always almost a feeling of gloating, isn't it? If you're like, and
Yeah,
I've done this, and I've done this, and I've done
yeah,
this, and actually, like, we need to gloat a little bit to get the next
exactly.
job.
Exactly. It is like part of the job, like you say. And as well, like it's a similar sort of energy in music as well. You kind of have to have a part of that where you have to like sell yourself because essentially, like, you are selling your services and it's part of the job, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And it is, I found it like really cringy when I first started doing it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it gives me the ick. But then actually, like, once you get used to it, you're like, oh yeah, no, I've done cool bits. And then sometimes
Exactly.
I do have
It's
to
like
get Nate
believing
to
in
remind me.
yourself.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
It's like believing in yourself and like believing in your work as well. And yeah, being proud of what you've done. It's like not a negative thing, but you just have to get like past that initial like, oh.
Yeah, yeah. And like I was just saying there, like I have to get Nath to remind me of these cool things that I've done.
Yeah.
Like this is really like makes me blush a bit, but I worked on a cookbook, like
Mm.
propping a cookbook, and it's on our kitchen shelf. And my mate came
Ooh.
in and was like, "Oh, is this the book you worked on?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I got all like coy, and she was like, "This is amazing." And
Oh,
like you kind of forget that you've done cool shit like that
yeah,
because it comes so normal.
absolutely. Yeah, it's like when you have friends that remind you or family members that remind you, and you're a bit like, oh yeah, I am
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I can do my job. And I had the same thing with this is so sad, but show my age. But like we'd designed our kitchen, right? So Nath was in charge of the appliances and I was in charge of like the colour and the like worktops and stuff. And
Mm,
like I like bright, airy spaces. So I've like sat and designed this kitchen
yeah.
with a designer at the kitchen place. And then the week it arrived and the old kitchen was ripped out, I was like, Nath, what if it doesn't all go together? What if it doesn't all go together?
Oh no.
And it did. It looks fine. It looks more than fine. It looks really nice.
Yeah,
And then he's like, see, you are good at your job. And I was
yeah.
like, yeah, I just needed to go and buy a kitchen to
To prove that, yeah.
to prove that point. But you do forget, right, that you like work
Yeah,
with color all the time or like
yeah,
where
exactly.
lighting comes in or, and
Mm,
then when someone goes, oh, what color would you do this? And you're like, overthink it. And actually you just need to
mm.
say
Just
it.
go with your gut, yeah, defo. And also like trust the process as well. Like you said, like I think it's quite a normal thing to be like, oh God, like is it gonna look all right? Is it, like have that sort of second guessing aspect to it. But yeah, just trust your process and you know, it all works out.
Yeah, it all works out in the end. And if it doesn't, you can just repaint stuff.
Exactly,
Fine.
exactly.
Oh, so do you have to do like loads of mood boards as well and stuff like that for people?
Yeah, yeah. I normally, if I'm on like a job, I normally do a mood board anyway, just so that like the client and me are both on the same page. And if there's anything that I've popped on the mood board that the client like weren't too happy about or didn't want to go down that direction, then I think it's always good to just have that like initial chat about where we're both at, because it is like collaborative as well
Yeah.
when you're working with the client.
And also, as a creative, sometimes you can go, not saying you specifically, but me sometimes, you can go off on a tangent, and then the client, like you say, goes, soz, not really, not really
Yeah.
vibing that.
I mean, I would absolutely love to just have like full creative direction on stuff like that, where you can just like completely go off on like a tangent and just go down whatever route you want to do. But you do have to like draw it back and be like, okay, cool, like this is a collaborative thing, and you do have to cater to the brand and what the client want to see. But
Yeah. It's sometimes though you do want to just go like, I want a
yeah,
bit
in
of this
it.
in. Or like I'll go in, if I'm propping a job, I absolutely spend all of the budget and I get loads of variations of stuff. And then people go, oh, you've bought loads with you. And I'm like, there's loads of these are just in case the thing we both thought was what we wanted actually isn't, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's so true. I think that's one thing that when working with clients, they don't kind of take that into consideration. Like it's normally there's like a budget been given, but it's just specifically for like certain things. When I mean, like I normally use like a credit card anyway and just like get loads of other things. But it's so important like to just have like more than what you need than like exactly what you need, just because like you say, like sometimes it doesn't always like go to plan.
Yeah, and stuff looks so much different through camera than what it does on a mood board or just even on set. You can like set up a really nice, like, I don't know, food shot with loads of nice bowls and plates and everything. Looks amazing to the eye, and you put a camera on it and you're like, what in the hell is this?
Yeah, it's always the case, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm always the one with like all those blue IKEA bags, a trolley. Like,
Suitcases filled to the brim.
yeah, dragging everything round Manchester like
Yeah.
a donkey.
Oh my gosh, and the returns as well. Oh,
Oh, don't. Returns haunt me.
I know. They keep me up at night. But there's nothing better than the feeling of like when you've done all the returns though, and you just like you've done everything, and it's just like a weight has been lifted. It feels so good.
Yeah, I'm like a stickler as well. I don't know if you are. Like, I always have like a little wallet for all my like labels to Kimble them back on or like stick them back on, and then like carting them around with me. Like, oh God, best not lose this. This needs to go with this. Or like taking loads of pictures. Like my phone's just full of pictures of labels and items like next to each other.
Or like random models with different outfits on.
Yeah. I actually, you've just triggered a memory. I just looked at my phone the other day and I was like, who is that? There's like a random girl in like a gold dress. And it was from like a job in November.
Yeah, so
Like,
many.
don't think all these people need to be on my phone.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's the way of styling though, isn't it? Like you take a quick shot of what people look like and then you're like, right, okay, let's go show the client or what have you, and just
Yeah.
what they want. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's mad.
again, I feel like with fashion jobs as well, like you normally kind of don't use what what the client have decided in the end anyway. That's why it's always good to just take like loads of different outfit options and show them to the client, because like you say before, it all looks so different on camera.
Yeah. And also like it often looks different on the models as well. If they've got like maybe they're slightly taller than what people think, or maybe like their skin tone's slightly different and a colour doesn't go with someone's skin tone.
Yeah,
Like
you're so right.
there's so many variations, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
So I've got a big question for you.
Ooh.
What what inspires you? And that you can answer that from a styling and a musical point as well.
What inspires me? Oh gosh, that is a very, very big question. um do you know what, like I think it is quite different with my music stuff and styling stuff. So I'll start with my music stuff, but I feel like life, like situations and life and experiences and relationships and friendships and all that sort of stuff, like it kind of that inspires me with my music. And I feel like I'm quite like an emotional person, and I do kind of go through periods where I'm quite low and stuff. So I feel like that is my outlet um, in that aspect. But it with styling, I would say, I don't know, it just kind of like happens organically. I'm always like on my phone on Pinterest and stuff, and I just look at images and stuff and just like create random mood boards, and like colors really inspire me, and like art as well. But yeah, it's kind of, it is very different. I don't know. It feels like a different way of inspiration.
Like two very different creative outlets, really.
Yeah, exactly. I think that like the styling, it's more of like a positive outlet, and like with with the writing and music, it's more of like stuff that I can't really say in like my everyday life, that it kind of subconsciously comes out of me in music, weirdly.
Yeah, I think that's interesting the way it like the stuff, like you just said, stuff that doesn't come out day to day, just
Mm,
subconsciously comes out in your writing. That's quite interesting.
yeah. What inspires you with your styling?
Colour. I'm a big
Yeah,
colour person, and
yeah.
mine's composition, like
Yeah,
how things are placed and how things look through the camera,
mm,
shapes. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm quite like a shapes, composition, and colour kind of person.
yeah,
I like stuff to look quite balanced.
yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
I'm the same as you. I'll go through Pinterest or Instagram and see what other
Yeah,
people are up to as well, and see, somebody
Pinterest is
might.
great.
Oh yeah, it's so good, so
Yeah.
good.
Even just like magazines as well. Like I love just kind of like going through loads of different magazines, like interior magazines, or like fashion magazines as well, and just kind of just making mood boards. Do you ever like sit and make mood boards with magazines?
Yeah, I haven't done it for a long time, but yeah,
Yeah.
I do like to sit and like just flick through magazines and be like, right, I'm going to cut that bit out and like that bit,
Mm,
and I do think they're
yeah.
really helpful, like
Yeah, really
doing it
helpful.
like that.
Even if there's no like outcome of it, just like doing it as an exercise is like just really, really cool. And like you can kind of see what is inspiring you. To be fair, like I've always kind of done that. Like even when I was like a teenager, I always like used to make like little random mood boards. Like at the time I didn't know what it was, but like I just enjoyed just looking through magazines and just like picking things out and just like seeing what comes of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do the same, and then my walls as a teenager, much to my dad's fucking annoyance, I think, I stuck pictures up, and it was like bits out of magazines, and it was like tickets to gigs, and it was like bits of artwork that I'd drawn, and like very much now that has been brought into our house, and we've got like
Yeah.
pit gallery walls like everywhere of stuff we've collected.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah, it just, I think that's, like you say, I did it a lot as a kid as well, a teenager,
Yeah.
just sticking. I mean, it may well have been Gary Barlow on one point on the wall, but
Gary Barlow.
Oh, I loved
Love
a bit of take
that.
that.
Yeah. I was more of a Robbie Williams kind of girl though, I must admit.
Oh yeah, I did make the switch. I did make the switch. Uh,
Do you know what else I randomly did as a kid as well? I don't know if you did this, but I played like dress up dollies like online, like when computers like first, well, obviously they weren't first came out, but I just remember like using the internet. You know when it was like on the phone, it was like that alien noise.
yeah, yeah.
But there's like dress up dollies, and you can kind of like. Did you ever play this or?
So I played. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. But I played a very similar one, but it was an EastEnders version, and it was Pat Butcher.
Oh my God, I think I played the same thing. It was like loads of different celebrities, like, and even to the like EastEnders and like Pat Butcher. I remember playing Pat Butcher, but there's like loads of different celebrities, and you could like dress up for these like digital dolls.
Yeah.
My mum and my sister used to take the absolute piss out of me, but I manifested it.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, doing it in real life. So
Yeah, I definitely like you unlocked a memory there of that EastEnders game where I was dressing Pat Butcher.
yeah.
I remember her making a noise if she put on an outfit that she didn't like, and she'd be like, And then if she loved it, she'd be like, yeah, it's great.
Oh gosh, I need to find this website. I used to go on it every single day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was obsessed with it.
Mine was between that and The Sims, I think.
I never got into The Sims, but I feel like it would have been like right up my street if I did.
Yeah, I hit a point then was like, right, I'm just like done playing The Sims, but like I was dressing them, like making them have babies, making their houses, like doing the interiors in their houses, everything.
Oh my god, amazing.
Yeah, you'd have loved it, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still get it.
Oh no,
I'm
yeah, I
just
was
gonna
thinking
say.
maybe in my downtime I could get
Yeah.
into The Sims.
Yeah. Or you could go on Animal Crossing, which is very similar.
Oh, do you play Animal Crossing?
Yeah, so I am shamelessly gonna say that I've spent 300 hours on it just during the pandemic.
Oh my gosh, 300 hours. That's
Yeah,
many hours.
yeah. I stopped working, probably similar as you.
Mm,
And then Nath was still at work and we had the allotment. So I was like able to go down there.
mm,
I was like, oh, I'm getting bored and I'm seeing people have got this Animal Crossing. And I was like, it looks like my kind of game, not much peril. They're not really going to die on it.
mm.
And I got addicted to it, mate. Absolutely
Really?
addicted, yeah.
What is
Yeah.
like what this I've never even obviously I've heard of it, but like how do you play it? Like how would you describe the game?
So you land.
I'm intrigued now. 300
So,
hours. Tell me
yeah,
everything.
yeah. It was well worth the money. So you pick an island that's like completely empty aside from like one guy on there with a little tent, and you have to go and get all your materials from there to start building like a house, and then you have to collect materials from around the island to then sell them back to him so then you can buy other things. And then you get to a point where you get islanders move onto your island, and then you can then fly to other people's islands, buy and sell stuff on there, and then you can dig up fossils, you can catch fish, you can grow vegetables, make meals, do these DIY things where you can like gather different materials and make lots of little, say like benches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it entertained me for 300 hours.
Yeah, that sounds quite cool. It's kind of like a similar vibe to The Sims then, in a way.
Yeah, slightly more chilled, I think,
Yeah.
than The Sims. And I think that's probably why I liked it, because it was quite, going back to chatting about structure, on there it was like if I logged on like in the morning, I was like, right, okay, I'll go and like dig for fossils, or I'll like go and collect all my fruit and stuff, and just I sound so sad.
No, you don't. I'm all in.
And then I kind of ended up having a bit of structure where I was like, oh yeah, and then I'll go and collect fish, and then I'll sell stuff and make stuff. So kind of like ended up being on it for like 6 hours a day or something ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah. Quite.
But I feel
addiction.
like once you found something, I mean, that was like me with Netflix and stuff. I like watched so many series like without even having any breaks at some points. But I feel like once you found your kind of thing, it's like really easy to just like get locked in.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like I'd kind of run out of stuff on Netflix and things, and it was of like in 2021 it was kind of, I feel like Netflix dipped a bit because obviously they weren't making anything in 2020.
Oh yeah, you're so right.
And then like stuff just, and now it's peaked again, but like I kind of got a bit bored of it a little bit. I was like, oh well, I'll just watch Friends or whatever, because it just hit that at peak.
Friends is always like a good go-to when like you've watched everything, and it's like, okay, what can I put on to numb my brain that will make me feel good?
That's it. And it's also, it's funny, and like we're kind of in that pool of people where it was on when we were kids.
Mm. It's really good just to have like on in the background, like even if you do have some work, like you're doing like some mood boards or just like ordering some stuff, it's just nice just to have it as like background noise.
Yeah, it's quite funny as well, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
it's very of the time
hilarious.
now,
Yeah,
but
hilarious.
it is funny. I do like that series. We've just started watching Beef on Netflix.
Oh, okay. I've not
Have
heard
you
of
seen
Beef.
it?
No, I've not seen it.
So it's got one of the main characters is the comedian Ali Wong,
Okay.
and we're 2 episodes in, and it was one of those where we both put our phones down, unbelievably, and
Is
just were actually locked onto it. We were like, "This is so good."
it really funny?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
write that down because I need something to get into.
yeah. It's really
Beef.
good. Yeah, it's so good. It's so funny. Like
Hmm.
for excuse me, for me and Nave, like we like a lot of like comedy and stuff, and this is maybe a bit of dark comedy as well, but it's really funny.
Yeah. No, I love comedy as well. It's always good just to like have a laugh, isn't it? And just kind of switch off.
Yeah, have you been to see any comedians in London?
Not in London, but I saw Michael McIntyre like in Manchester, which is really funny. But yeah, to be fair, I haven't. I went to like a comedy night a couple of years back, which was good. There wasn't anyone like famous or anything on there, but it was just good just to like see just people just do stand up comedy and get heckled and stuff.
Yeah.
But in fact, funny enough, I did a job a couple of months ago, and it was so that it was like it was basically like an X Factor, but like comedy version of it.
Oh, cool.
And there was like judges and there was like acts and stuff, which was really really fun to be involved in. But yeah, that was cool.
That sounds really cool. I
Yeah.
love going to watch like is it called Beat the Frog in Manchester where they have like
Yeah.
comedy nights and stuff.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I love comedy.
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
it's there's so many like small venues you can go to that have got loads of little comedy nights on, or you
Mm,
know, I get this feeling as well that my sister saw like a comedian in London somewhere and they did like a little secret gig and it was like
mm.
200 people or something and they were just testing material for their big like tour,
Oh
and it was
yeah.
she was like, this is amazing, and I can't even remember who it was, but she was like, they got the tickets like super cheap, like a tenner or something,
Mm.
and just
It's a
I
good way for
feel
them to like market themselves as well for like when they have big gigs.
yeah, because I guess the material would change a little bit depending on who actually laughs at the jokes or whatever.
Yeah. Oh no, it was so awkward on some of the acts that came on because like obviously they were all relatively funny, but you've got to like consider as well they'll be quite nervous. So like some of the acts were just a bit like oh, like a bit
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah, we watched this comedy show on YouTube called Kill Tony,
Mm,
and it's basically it's a comedy show, but Tony Hinchcliffe is the host, and then he has
mm,
two guests on, and he's got like a little panel, and then he pulls names out of a bucket, so people go to this comedy club, sign up to do a minute's comedy in
mm.
front of him and like his other American like comedian guests like Joe Rogan
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
And then some people flop so bad,
Oh my gosh, the worst.
honestly. And then some people absolutely kill it. And
Yeah.
like me and Nath watch it, like you can listen to it obviously, but we watch it because it's so funny. Like they just roast people as well.
Mm,
Like, I mean, you're going to expect that if you're going to go up on stage with like three incredible
yeah,
comedians, you know.
yeah, of
But
course.
it's honestly that's well worth a watch. It's really good.
What was it called again?
It's called Kill Tony.
Kill Tony. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna watch that.
Yeah. It's like really it's not for everyone's taste. It's a little bit not a little bit. They roast the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
So it can be a bit harsh and it's very much like on the line, some of the comedy. But I feel like the best comedy is always on the line.
Yeah, definitely. Like Frankie Boyle. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
yeah. Yeah. I
He's
love
like, is
Frankie
he
Boyle.
like cancelled now or is he still like going around? Because I've definitely not heard him in ages.
So something popped up on it might have been on iPlayer or something like that, where he's got a show
Mm.
again. But I think he was cancelled for a little while because he gets really close to the line and probably goes over it.
Yeah, definitely like way past the line.
Yeah. But I kind of
Some
like,
things.
that's the whole point of comedy, isn't it? They don't
Yeah,
necessarily not necessarily, these aren't necessarily their beliefs. They're just like saying
saying
stuff.
things, yeah,
Yeah. And just
for
they've got to
reaction.
push people's limits.
Yeah, of course. Like it would be boring if they didn't do that. I think it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. We found some good comedians off of that Kill Tony show.
Mm,
And it's quite nice then to see them like progress throughout their careers and stuff. And,
mm,
you know, it's quite good to, yeah, just sit and watch them and see all the YouTube specials now as well.
mm.
Comedians are putting them on YouTube rather than going on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I wonder why that is.
Well, cuts the production cost down, doesn't it, if they're producing it
Yeah,
themselves?
yeah, true, true. And
Um,
there's such a big audience as well on YouTube, so it's like it's a good idea.
yeah, we watch like majority of our TV on YouTube or
Mm,
Netflix.
yeah, same. To be fair.
Like Nath bought Sky for F1 and UFC,
Hmm.
and he bought it maybe 3 months ago. I've not I've not touched it. I don't watch it.
Really,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
How many channels do you have? Like loads of channels.
Oh my god, it has so much shit on there.
You should
So
defo
much shit.
explore it. Defo
Yeah.
explore the channels.
Next time you see me, I'll just be in my own little cave solving some sort of true crime mystery.
Yeah, like watching some like random programs about alien invasion and stuff.
Yeah, that'll be the next biggest conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think to pick it up. I'll be like on Prime watching Below Deck or something, or I'll be on like Netflix watching something or
Mm.
YouTube. But yeah, Sky I just don't pick up. I'm like, meh.
Me.
Yeah,
Yeah, fair.
yeah, it's one of them. His mum and dad have Sky because of the F1, because his dad
Yeah.
loves the F1.
Oh, my
And
granddad loves the F1 too.
yeah, Nave loves it too. I mean, now
The
he works at
noise literally just puts me to sleep.
yes, yes, girl, me too. My dad used to watch it every Sunday that it was on, and we'd have like a roast dinner, but at the coffee table because we'd all be like on our laps watching the F1, like watching Michael Schumacher. And then
Oh,
now
that's
Nave watches it. I'm like, I'm asleep.
yeah. It's just the noise. Like, to be fair, once you do get into it, it's quite interesting. But I think out of all the sports, it's probably like the most boring for me personally.
I mean, have you watched golf?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. No, I take that back. I take that back completely. Luckily, I actually haven't watched golf, but I never want to watch golf ever.
Mate, if everyone sends you to sleep, you'll be in a coma watching golf. It's
My,
so boring.
yeah, I bet. But yeah,
Oh
I've got into
dear.
like UFC though, because my
Yeah,
boyfriend's into UFC. At first, like, because he literally like wakes up at the crack of dawn to watch these fights. I'm like, are you okay?
yeah,
Um, but at first I was like, oh gosh, that's a bit gruesome, like to be
yeah,
watching that. But I've weirdly like got really into it now. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I
It's
find it
good,
really
isn't it?
enjoyable. Yeah,
Yeah, it's so good. And the women fight. Have you seen many
yeah,
women fight?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Holy fucking shit.
I
Those
know,
girls just, yeah,
I
mad.
know. It's crazy. There's that Liverpudlian fighter who's a woman. I can't remember her name, but she's like really cool. I'm like a
Yeah.
fangirl.
There's there's a guy, oh, I can't remember his name, and he's Liverpudlian as well, and he's
Is his
won.
name Paddy?
Yes, Paddy, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
He's
like
really
Paddy.
good. Yeah. So we started watching it maybe a decade ago when it was like Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva and Ronda
Mm,
Rousey and those kind of guys and Conor McGregor.
mm,
And I've dropped out of it a little bit, but I really enjoyed it. It was
mm.
so good.
Yeah, it is quite enjoyable. Um, but yeah, I find it crazy as well because that Paddy guy, like, he literally goes from like being quite big, and then like losing all his weight for these fights. It's just crazy, like how much they push themselves to the limits of like when they're training for the fights and stuff, like what goes behind it.
Yeah, there was a meme recently with one of the guys who fought recently, and it was like his pre-fight weight, I don't know, was 250 pounds. Then his weigh-in day was like 180, and then
Yeah.
his like fight day was like 220. And you're like,
Wow.
your body is going through
Yeah,
so much.
it is
Like,
crazy. It
it's
mustn't be healthy. Like
no,
it surely mustn't be.
I don't think it can be that healthy. There used to be a guy, he was called his nickname I think was the Cowboy, and I can't remember his full name, but he used to fight because he loved fighting, and just, you know, he wasn't too bothered about championships and stuff, but he just used to fight all the time.
Mm,
And he's tired now, but I can't imagine his body must have been going through the miller. He was fighting like every other week. So I think that's why they don't fight as regularly, like, because it must be insane on their bodies. Insane.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I
No,
couldn't do
it. Definitely not.
No, too much for me. Well, on that lovely little UFC note where we both realise we can't do any UFC, that's just not for us. We can't lose that much weight that quickly. It has been an absolute joy to chat to you today.
Yeah,
Lovely
it's
to
been so
reconnect.
nice.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please rate, follow, and share, as it really helps this little podcast out. And if you have found value in the podcast and you have the means to, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes. This will help keep the podcast going. Join me next week for another fantastic guest. Bye!